My name is Jim. I'm an injured worker out of the state of Idaho. There was a findings of facts and conclusions of law and order that was done in regards to my industrial commission hearing, which Lynn, who is a House member of the Senate for Idaho, took my case in 2010, which my injury was in 2008, but I couldn't really get an attorney at the time. But now, I got based upon the Supreme Court opinion and a remitter that was done September of 2013, which a lot of people probably know that there was an opinion done, but not a remitter, on September 18th of 2013. Based upon the opinion of the Idaho Supreme Court and the remitter, I went to the Industrial Commission with a letter, a document, and other documents to show, based on a conversation that I had with the Attorney General there with the Industrial Commission, Blair James, based on an audio phone conversation. And he was telling me that, well, if I want to show that evidence, then I can bring it in. At that time, he didn't tell me that I wasn't allowed to enter the Industrial Commission. So based upon that call also, me and Lynn went to the Industrial Commission on April 4th of 2014, based upon the Supreme Court opinion of August 14th of 2013, and then the remitter of September 18th of 2013. On April 4th of 2014, me and Lynn drove from Vancouver, Washington to Boise to show to the Industrial Commission that the documents proving that the statements that they have posted for public view in a findings of facts and conclusions of law and order is a lie. Instead, I received a citation for trespassing. So I took it to a trial. I lost. I was given a court-appointed attorney out of the state of Idaho. He didn't do a lot of things that I asked him to do because I knew it was my right. But you'll hear part of the conversation, what's going on in relation to my trespassing now on the Industrial Commission property, which I want to go and turn myself in, but something's not sounding right with him. And I am asking the public to please help. Step forward. If people don't want to step forward here for people like me, then the people in office is going to continue to do what they're doing. So, if you listen to the conversation that I had with my attorney, you will clearly see the corruption that's going on in the state of Idaho. So, here it is. You got it now. It's getting to it.
That Clark appealed pro se, arguing that, oh, it's right here on my thing when I'm doing it in. Right here, it says, as filed in evidence to this court, a copy of the opinion, Boise, June 2013 term, 2013 opinion, number 86 filed, August 14th of 2013, Steve Kenyon, clerk, page 1 states. Page 1 states, Clark appeals, arguing that the commission committed error by relying on fraudulent evidence. We affirm. As filed in evidence of this court, a copy of the Idaho Supreme Court opinion, Boise, June 2013, blah, 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 Steve Kenyon, clerk, also states on page 5. Clark appeals pro se, arguing that the medical record was fraudulently obtained. He also argued that the commission relied on altered documents and irrelevant evidence in reaching its conclusion. We affirm, even though that because there was no signatures on my opinion, Mr. Kimball, and when there's no opinion, that's because not everybody's in agreement on what's going on. So they did affirm the Industrial Commission, but they also affirmed because they have only a narrow margin on what they can listen for. And correct. Okay, and since they did because I did argue that if, the law of my rights have been violated, well, when they did their opinion, Well, they did agree with me. In two sections. Oh yes, Mr. Kimball. In two sections.
What it means is that they uphold the decision below.
No. They agreed to this. No, they agreed. They affirmed this because you see, Mr. Kimball, I had a city council person look at this when this first came to me, because when I went to get shit out of my storage unit, I know somebody that sits on city council in Payette, Idaho. And when I showed him this, he said, "Well, geez, Miss Clark, it looks like you won."
Well, is he
well, let me tell you, he's a city councilman. He knows what's going on. He's been a city council for many years.
Does he practice law?
Well, yeah. Matter of fact, he does, Mr. Kimball. Matter of fact, he sent me to an attorney also. And when I mentioned Lynn Luker with my attorney, well, everything changed. Again, every time I mention Lynn Luker, people just kind of, but that's okay because I'm not going to stop.
Okay.
Because that's what I just read to you. Is I read to you a part of what I'm filing here come Wednesday, or maybe even tomorrow, over here in Washington.
Wednesday.
Huh? Oh well, it is tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's Wednesday. It'll be filed tomorrow.
Okay.
But and because Lynn Luker, and I learned the reason why I wasn't getting anywhere in the other courts because this court over here. As I did today, I went down and made sure the first page of what I was doing was properly done. And he told me that, well, what's the case number? I go, well, case number? What do you mean by case number? Well, you got to have the case number that it was done on, that you're referencing to. Well, that's what I've been leaving out, Mr. Kimball, is the case number in relation to what I was filing on. So now I've got it done right properly because before I filed it, I went down and asked him, and that's what I was leaving out because I wasn't aware of how to do that because I have to learn this because nobody wants to tell me. So now it is the Idaho Industrial Commission's case number 200, in the case number, this is in regards to Lynn Luker, and I'm demanding a trial by jury of his ineffective assistance of counsel and his malpractice. This is a malpractice case. You see, my complaint of malpractice and ineffective assistance of counsel. And, because it'd be under the diversity because I live in one state and all other parties live in another.
Okay.
And since I know that now that you are not protected, and plus the last time I filed it on Lynn, well, I guess you can't file on somebody if they're in session. And that's when that happened. But he's not in session no more. So he'll be getting this in the mail, and it'll be certified this time with a return receipt, So he can't pull the old crap he did over there in Portland. So and because I'm trying to get this straight out here with you, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on with my case now also in regards to my trespassing. That's different. That is kind of in reference to Lynn Luker, because Lynn Luker was my attorney in relation to the Industrial Commission, which you are now my attorney, that was appointed to me from the state of Idaho, because I do live in the state of Washington, Vancouver, Washington, and my case is in Idaho. You were appointed to me, and again, under diversity, because I live in this state, and you're my attorney over there. And I don't feel I'm getting the proper questions and answers that I need. Because this is my freedom. And then for Social Security, let me tell you, Mr. Kimball.
Well, that wouldn't be.
Let me tell you about the
Social Security. I want to make it very clear, Mr.
Let me make it clear to you, Mr. Kimball.
Does not involve any Social Security.
Well, yes, it does. Because if it's the industrial, why are you interrupting me, Mr. Kimball? Because it does have something to do with the Social Security. Because I'm receiving Social Security.
I don't think it does.
Well, I'm receiving Social Security based on my injury. And because Lynn Luker was my attorney in 2010, why am I paying back Social Security in 2010 and 2009 when I didn't even get Social Security until 2011? Because I've been embezzlement. That's what's going on. Embezzlement by Lynn Luker and the Industrial Commission in relation to my fucking injury. That's what's going on. I've had to uncover it because I found out that I've been paying back Social Security since 2009. If I've been paying back Social Security since 2009, Mr. Kimball, and I didn't even start receiving Social Security until 2011, then what's that scam all about? I'm getting onto that with Social Security over here because something's not right.
Okay, so I sent you a letter about probation in our case. I sent it out yesterday. Should get to you pretty quickly.
Okay.
Go through it. And then if you want me to look into us trying to have a magistrate revoke your probation and impose your sentence of 170 days, we can do that.
No, I don't want you to do that for me because I want to come and turn myself in and revoke it that way.
That is not an option.
I believe it is my option. Okay. Because I don't trust the state of Idaho. And I do fear for my safety once I do turn myself in because of what I do know and what I just told you about my Social Security. You see, I know a lot more than what you think I do.
Does a pretty good job keeping people safe in custody, so I think
really?
If you are in custody, you'll be safe there.
Not what I've been seeing online. But anyway, what about that lady that got pulled over and got put in jail and she got hung her, and she supposedly hung herself, after, she was arrested for what?
That was not Nada County, Mr. Clark.
No, it sure wasn't, but you know what? Your government is corrupt over there, man. So, and since it's federal, I guess, Social Security is federal, that's why I put in here also that, I'm reserving my right to file before the federal, I'm reserving my right to be allowed to file in a federal court on the outcome of this thing with Lynn Lugar, if I can move forward, you see. So,
okay.
Because, it is about my federal rights that have been violated, and also with the Industrial Commission, because you didn't argue that I had a right, because that's my constitutional right, of my rights, of my, so.
Right, yeah, that wouldn't be something that the jury would decide.
Well, sure it would have been, if you would have argued it.
Well, the judge would not have let us argue that.
Well, why not, Mr. Kimball? That I had a right to be there, that it was my constitutional right, so I didn't commit no crime. So it wasn't a crime I committed. I was just going there to redress my government with a document that I talked with James Blair, or Blair James about over the phone that I have a audio conversation of prior to me going over there.
You make that argument.
You didn't do it for me.
As part of the judgment of acquittal.
Well, you should have argued it at the hearing, at the trial.
That would not be permissible. That's not something we can do.
If you could have done it.
No, I don't think it would have been allowed to.
You wouldn't have been. Well, why not? I could have. Because they're using the audio. They're using the audio to convict me. So why couldn't we use an audio to show that I had a right to be there? Because he told me, well, if you want to present that evidence, you're welcome to do that. So I went there in person to do it. He didn't tell me at that time that I couldn't come there and do it. Anyway, I don't know what's going on there, but okay, Mr. Kimball. Well, I'll let you go. I know you're over time, so I'm glad I caught you.
Okay, yep, me too. Look over the letter if you've got questions and want to talk about it more. Give me a call back, okay?
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Bye.
I'm asking the public for help. Why can't I get help from anybody in relation to this crime that's been committed against me? You have a legislator that's over there right now that says that she's for the government. I mean, that she for the people, for our rights in regards to the government and federal. Let's see if she'll step forward for me. I can't think of her name right now, but her name's Heather something. So come forward. I mean, you were able just now, in relation to our firearms, you were able to get this gentleman a vet, because they were about ready to take his firearms away from him. So it was a box that accidentally got marked in. So, and now it's no longer marked. So where we at there? Heather Scott, or Scott Heather, whichever way it was. Heather Scott. So I'm just trying to find out what's going on. I would sure like the public to please help me to be heard. That's all I'm asking. I love to move forward in my life. But they're saying that this accident on my arm right here didn't happen. My arm is deformed, but they're not doing nothing, because in their findings of facts and conclusions of law that was done on May 2nd of 2012, that I filed an appeal to the Supreme Court, and based upon the opinion and the remedy, I went there to have them correct it. But instead, I get a citation for trespassing. I take it to a jury trial, and my attorney don't even represent me in my best interest there. What's going on here? I'm asking for help.